Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Board Gamers. My name is Dave, and today thought I would do a tier review of the heroes. So we've got 55 heroes at the time of this recording. We've got Magneto just came out that ends the Age of Apocalypse cycle, and they announced the two heroes for the Agents of Shield, Maria Hill and Nick Fury. Um, but since this was sort of the end of an era, the mutant era for now, I thought this might make a good time to do a hero review. So I got categories S, A, B, C, D, and F. S, which is sort of the ranking. Um, to me, S is like superstar, A is awesome, B is um, I don't know what B is basically really good. Uh, C is pretty cool. D is a little disappointing, and then F is a failure. And we've got the 55 images here, and we will begin. I got to kind of watch to make sure that ads don't pop up. So, all right. So first, we're going to start with the heroes from the core set, which Black Panther. I'm going to put Black Panther in A. I think he's pretty awesome. He's not quite S tier. He his four Black Panther upgrades and the five Wakanda Forevers. Once that gets all set up, is amazing. But that's a good chunk of his hero cards. Shuri can help with that. Um, his vibranium is what really comes in handy for to get the upgrades out and also whatever aspect you're planning on doing. And once you've got the deck smaller enough, with all your upgrades and supports out and stuff for whatever you're doing, um, it getting a turn where you can get three Wakanda Forevers with the full four Black Panther upgrades out is amazing. So I'm putting Black Panther as an A tier. Captain Marvel, I'm going to put her in the S tier. The card draw is amazing. It's just there's just no if, ands, or buts about it. She also has two triple resources cards, so that's really good. One of my favorite decks to play is actually a Captain Marvel deck where I've got Agent 13 and Yondu. And Agent 13, she's readies a lot with like command teams and stuff, and you can ready the Alpha Flight Station. And if you're an alter ego, you're just going through your deck super fast. You could do a whole game pretty much with Captain Marvel staying in alter ego. Um, or, and to me, it's a little more efficient, would be to when you get the energy channel set up, then you flip to Captain Marvel for a turn, and do 10 damage in addition to all the damage that Yondu is doing and all the thwart that Agent 13 is removing. But she's got the economy and the card draw for any aspect, so that's amazing. Iron Man, I'm going to put him in B, although he's getting a lot better. There's more tech upgrades and stuff lately, especially in protection. Um, the problem with him, and especially in the beginning of the game, was that you got to stay down for a couple turns to get your armor pieces built up and stuff. But Iron Man is becoming more and more efficient, so he could get bumped up to an AT. But once he is all built out, he's pretty powerful. And so he's kind of like an end of game, you know, push. It's like you waited and waited and waited. Now you can go to town with him. So I'm putting him in the B tier. She-Hulk. Um, I think I'm gonna put her in the C tier. Um, she's got her big uh gamma attack, when she takes damage and stuff. And the fact that when she's alter ego, she can reduce threat, which is nice. I'm not the biggest fan of when you have to go do when you have a four card hand size. I know they're going, okay, you got a lot of hit points, so the four card. I just I'm not a big fan of that. She-Hulk can get some good attacks going, but the big Gamma Slam is, you got to take a lot of damage, and I've lost games because timing the damage wrong can happen. Spider-Man. I'm putting Spider-Man in an A. Again, he gets card draw, which when the villain initiates an attack, that's great. He pretty powerful, kind of right out the gate, especially in protection, because he's got a 3 defense, and so you do like a perfect defense with him, and he's not taking damage. He could draw a card with the villain, so you defend for yourself, you play a desperate defense, you take no damage, you get to ready, then you defend for another player in multiplayer, you get another card draw. Um, yeah, Spider-Man Peter Parker is great. Captain America, I think I'm gonna put him in the A. He's really close to S tier. Um, He's got Retaliate. Oh, and Black Panther has Retaliate built in, but Captain America, when he gets a shield out, he's got a 3 defense, which is great. So he's there comparable to Spider-Man. He has this, I could do this all day. You could discard a card to ready him and get an extra activation. Um, he's really close to S tier. Um, but I think, yeah, like if I made an A+ tier, he would definitely be in that. I don't know if he's quite there with Captain Marvel and some of the other S heroes, but he's very close. Ms. Marvel, uh, Ms. Marvel is pretty good. I like her. I'd probably put her between A and B. Um, her stats aren't that great, but the nice part about her is after you play an event, you can exhaust her and put that event back in your hand. And one of the nice things is the wiggle room. So like when she's getting attacked, the wiggle room reduces the damage by 3. You can put it back, and you can even play it again against the same attack. So that's pretty cool. And she's just a really good event heavy hero. I like her Persona Squad when she's an alter ego, and yeah, so she's a really good character. Thor, I'm gonna put Thor in B. He's kind of there with like She-Hulk. He's sort of between B and C. If I had a C+ tier, maybe. Um, Thor's gotten a lot better when the Valkyrie pack came out and they added some more Asgard stuff. And when like SPDR came out and added more 14+ hit point cards, that really helped Thor. Um, he he likes to, just have at thee for getting minions. So if there's minions in the game, Thor is pretty strong. If it's a minion weak game, then yeah, he could run into some problems. I like the fact that you can't, he could play Asgard and give him a normal hand size. I mean, it costs you 3 resources to get it out, but you basically kind of sacrifice a turn to get Asgard out, and then you've gone from a 4 hand size hero to a 5 hand size hero. So that makes up for the 4. So then he's got 15 hit points, and he's got a hand size of 5, which is amazing. And there's a lot of things you can do with Mjolnir and his events. So yeah, he's pretty good. Black Widow, she's pretty close to S tier. She's one of those heroes like Captain Marvel where you could probably play a game where she stays down the entire game. But her preparation cards are really good, but it does take some time to set up. She is a little on the squishy side, so you got to be careful with her a little bit. But once you can get all the preparation cards out, then you can go through her deck really fast, which is really good. And with the Nick Fury article, there's more preparation cards coming. Um, and she might go up to S tier after Nick Fury comes out because there's that one basic card where when you play a preparation card, you could put it from your discard pile into your hand, which is great. There are some new spy cards from Gambit, so that helps her in Justice. And Black Widow, I can see her maybe getting bumped up to the S tier. Doctor Strange, I'm putting him in the S tier. He's always been super powerful. I don't see him coming down anytime soon. Um, his invocation deck is great. Uh, they did put an errata on Cosmo so that you had to choose a hero or the encounter deck. So there was a lot of people use Cosmo with the invocation deck, and then you just send events, and yeah. So Cosmo never took damage. Now, kind of the only hero Cosmo's really good at with, I think, is Magic, but we'll get to that when we get to her. Um, but yeah, those invocations are really powerful. He can swap status cards. Um, he can use those cards multiple times. It's just, yeah, they're Doctor Strange is still really good. Hulk, yeah, I was really disappointed. Hulk, I mean, he's getting better. There's some of the new 14 plus cards help him. Um, but yeah, the fact that you have to discard your hand at the end so you can't really sort. He's another one of those forced hand sizes. You can't plan for Hulk, unfortunately. So I think he's still F. He might get up to the D tier some point. Um, but yeah, it's kind of disappointing with Hulk, especially. I think if Hulk was designed now, they would do things a little different because they were. It seemed like they were afraid of breaking the three stat, for like thwart and attack, but they've kind of some of the newer heroes can do that more often now, so that's kind of nice. But yeah, the whole discarding the card kind of hurts. Hawkeye, ooh, that's I'm gonna put him in B. I really like the arrows. When he gets the quiver, that's amazing. You can have a couple whiff turns, of course, but I like the fact that you have the arrows that you need based on the situation. So it's like, oh, there's a lot of minions. Okay, I'll put on an explosive arrow. Oh, the justice player needs help thwarting. Okay, I'll use a cable arrow this turn. Um, Hawkeye is really nice. Spider Woman, I'm going to put her in the A tier because of her unique deck building. You can you can pull off some interesting combos, and you can get up to a 5/5/5. And actually, if you choose pool as one of your aspects now, you can get her to 6/6/6. And so that's amazing. If you can get all five aspects off, she could become a 6/6/6, which is really impressive. But you can pull off some interesting combinations with Spider Woman, and to me, unique deck building automatically gets a bump up. She's not quite S tier, but she's pretty close. Ant-Man, I'm putting him in the A, but like if there was an A plus tier, I think Spider-Woman and Ant-Man would both be in there. Um, I like the fact that when you change forms, you get an ability. You either can remove a threat, you can heal, or you could do a damage depending on what form you go into. I like well, I call them triple changers, which is like from Transformers, I think. But um, the double card that you can open up for the large. I think thematically that's pretty cool that the card is double for a giant size hero. That's pretty awesome. Um, his his army of ants is great for like doing some damage when you're on the high fort side. When you're small, that's great. Yeah, he's just I've enjoyed Ant-Man since the beginning, and the newer card pool just keeps going nuts. Wasp, I'm going to put her in the B tier. I mean, she's fun too, definitely, but her she does not get an ability when she switches size like Ant-Man does. But her cards will do stuff like if she's in giant form, it does this. If she's in small form, it does that. So she actually can play her events a little more easily than, say, Ant-Man, depending on what form you end up being in. Um, and the girl ability in Alter Ego is really nice, and she likes mental cards, and we keep seeing great mental cards. So yeah, Wasp could, if there was a B plus, she would definitely be in there. Quicksilver, I'm going to put Quicksilver in A. He's not quite S. Um, the multiple activations with him is just amazing. Always be running. The stats are on the low side, so you're doing usually like a lot of little attacks. In multiplayer, we try to make sure that the aggression player puts a combat training on him and the justice player puts a heroic intuition on him. He's actually really good for helping out the aggression player and the justice player for thwarting or attacking, depending on what they need. Like the Adrenaline Rush and Civic Duty are great cards for him. Multiple Tenacities is nice. Plus his acceleration, metabolism. Every time he readies, you ready that, and it gives you another strength. It's just amazing. Scarlet Witch, she's really close to S tier. I think I'm going to put her in the S tier. Being able to manipulate the encounter deck um, based on the icons on the encounter cards is amazing. Her hex bolts and her molecular uh, deceleration or deconstruction card, I forget what it's called, is amazing. Agatha, of course, when she's an alter ego. The superpower siblings between her and Quicksilver is amazing. And yeah, I think Scarlet Witch is pretty powerful. Groot, I'm going to put Groot in the C tier. Um, the growth counters is awesome for sure. But the problem is, I mean, if you play him in protection, which he came in, and you do a perfect defense, it's great because you got to try to avoid, taking any damage so you don't take any growth counters. But the fact that it's forced kind of hurts a little bit if a villain hits pretty hard. The force field generator card for protection definitely helps because they're both forced responses, and so you can choose which one. So that can help um, protect your growth counters more. So yeah, I'm putting Groot in the C tier, but he's definitely, some cards are improving. I mean, that's pretty much true with all the heroes. Is cards are coming out to improve them more. Rocket, Rocket's pretty close to an A tier character. I really like him. Um, the tinkering ability is amazing for him. Just having guns galore is awesome. The side holster allows him to, that came in Venom, definitely helps. Because then you can have more of them out. Yeah, because he comes with more guns, more restricted items than he can use willingly. And that's where the side holster comes into play. You throw in even more guns and like the hand cannons that he came with if you're playing aggression. And yeah, he's crazy. Like I said, he'd be a B plus, but I don't think he's quite A tier. Star Lord, I'm going to put Star Lord in the A tier. Okay, Star Lord. So yeah, what could go wrong is amazing for him. Um, you can get over. You got to be careful because you can get overwhelmed, especially if you're playing somebody with a hard encounter deck, like say Ronin or something. That that can get away with you. But like the Bad Boy is a great card for when you're going to take a lot of attacks, you get the flip down, and then everything else is fine. You know, um, and yeah, so Star Lord can get some very powerful cards out with what can go wrong, and the um, fact that yeah, he's just pretty cool. I do throw in the double resources with him. I know he didn't come with the double resources originally, but I feel he can get some expensive cards out. And the fact that every hero, or I mean, sorry, every ally is a guardian that works for cards where you want to exhaust cards that are the same as you. Like that new organizational support that's going to come in Maria. That's would be really good for Star Lord as well. So yeah, Star Lord's A tier. Gamora, I'm putting her in A tier as well. Again, like Spider Woman, she's got some unique deck building, and she is a very nice character for helping balancing a team out. So it's like, oh, I'm playing aggression, but I'll throw in some justice events to help the justice player if we need to, if need to, that kind of thing. Um, but and then the fact that when she plays a thwart card, she gets to do an when she does when she plays a thwart card, she can do an extra damage, and a damage card she can do an extra threat. That's all that is, right? Yeah, the fact that she can her cards work when she's played, like her events is like, her she'll do more damage per attack if she had played a thwart card earlier and stuff. So you really want her thwarting and attacking on the same turn. Drax, I think I'm going to put him in the C tier. He's pretty close to B. There's some you can really beef him up with some good protection cards, or like you just go aggression. The vengeance counters is really nice. So he can do way more damage than Hulk when he gets built up. Um, it's a little clunky. Like when you go down, you lose all the vengeance counters and things like that. So there's a couple times where it can be super swingy. Um, but now I'm gonna leave him a C. I was thinking I might bump him up to B, but yeah, we're gonna leave him in the C tier. But he's pretty close to being a B. Venom. Venom, I'm putting him in the B tier. He's another one that's got a lot of weapons, which is nice. He gets his spider sense, but it's a card that you have to play. But once you get that down, that helps. Um, he's just pretty good, well-rounded character. I don't think he's super awesome, but he's pretty good. Nebula, probably put Nebula in the B as well. When you get the techniques out, she's really good. And but you can definitely get some bad shuffles with her. Um, I definitely like her play style, but I don't know. It's just not quite A for me. Adam Warlock, I'm gonna put him in B. The only reason he's not a C is because of his unique deck building. So, and I used to say unique deck building makes you an A, but in Adam Warlock's case, doesn't quite do it. You get to pick four aspects. So, at the time, you had to build equal amount of each aspect. You could only have one copy of non-Adam Warlock cards, so that restriction can limit you a little bit. There's a lot of fun combinations you can do. And with pool, the nice thing with pool, though, is those three pool aspects all have a different name. So if you need more, I mean, resources cards. So if you need more resource cards, you can put one of each of those in. But the problem with pool is you don't have the ability, pool's not listed on here. So you're giving up one of your abilities to get the pool card. So I feel if I'm putting pool in for Adam Warlock, I definitely want to put those three resources in. I'm doing it for a reason. The Soul World, for every time you shuffle your deck, that is amazing. And like I said, you could definitely get some good combinations going with him, but he's just not quite a tier material in my mind. Spectrum, I'm going to put her in the A because she's like Ant-Man. She does she's got three different forms, which is amazing. She's not she has to get a card to switch forms. That limits her a little bit. But there are so many ways to switch forms because a lot of her events say switch to Spectrum form. But if you were already in Spectrum form, you get this bonus. So she's got cards in her kit that will do it, but you can't once per turn switch her willingly. But the different forms is amazing, and I do like the multiple form people. War Machine. I think I'm going to put War Machine in B. Um, I like the different guns that he has. The ammo is a little restrictive um, because you run out. You can run out of ammo very fast, and then you got to go to Alter Ego to restock it. I mean, later on when you've got the munition bunker built up, then you can pull off some more combos, but it takes a bit of time to get to that stage. Vision. Um, I think I put Vision in B. I was debating between B and C. Um, Multiple form changers definitely bumps it up, but in my mind, the Vision deck is more of a Vivian deck. You keep her going more than you do Vision's thing. He's got different cards that affect based on what form you're in. And you have some flexibility. You do have flexibility on what form you want to switch to, but yeah, I think he there's it's just not quite as clean as I guess I would like it to be. Valkyrie, I'm going to put her in D. I don't think she's quite as bad as Hulk. Um, the main problem I have with Valkyrie is you put the death glow on, say, the villain, and then a bunch of minions come out. You can't switch who the death glow has on it unless you go to Alter Ego, or you defeat the character with the death glow. Um, if you could like pay a resource to remove the death glow, that would at least give you something. But I just think that death glow is a little on the clunky side. Um, Valkyrie also has the problem where if there are no minions, she's got the Thor problem as well. If there's no minions, then there's not a lot for her to do because she's really wants the minions. But she did come with some really good cards that help Thor as well, help the Asgards. So there's that. Ghost Spider. Ghost Spider, I'm putting her in the A tier. She is super fun. Um, she's not quite. I almost debating on putting her in the S tier. Um, as the card pool grows, there are more responses and interrupt cards, which just are more choices for her. But yeah, you really want the forces and uh, interrupt your responses and interrupt cards in your deck because when she plays those, and you've got the web shooters, the or web bracelets. Um, that's I mean, it's just like amazing. She can dish. I mean, I've taken out minions, done lots of damage to a minion when the villain attacks me. And then turn around and do a bunch of damage to the minion that I'm engaged with, and take them out during the villain phase. Without playing protection even. There's just a lot of you got a lot of options. Spider-Man Miles, he is A tier for sure. I like the fact that he's got the two different abilities that can activate based on what he, what cards that say you can do your Venom or you can do your invisibility. That's pretty cool for sure. And he, let's, yeah, so he throws a lot of stuns and confuses and toughs. He can make himself tough a lot. Uh, Against a steady villain, he loses a little bit. And Stalwart, that really kind of sets him back a little bit. But he's just got a huge variety of things he can do. Nova. Nova, I think I'm going to put him in A. You get those turns going where he can activate multiple times, and then he's like Quicksilver, um, which is very fun. If you get a way to increase his stats, that definitely helps because then you activate multiple times, you can do more damage. He's got kind of the same thing going as Quicksilver. He can also have a slightly larger hand size with those his resource cards. Yeah, he's pretty fun. Um, Next, I'm putting Ironheart in the S tier. Not because she's necessarily super powerful, but she can become super powerful. But she's just super fun. I really like the building the different versions of her armor kit. That is super cool. You can see this kind of progression between version 1, 2, and 3. So the version 1 is subpar because she has a hand size 4, but she has the standard 6 stats. She's a 1, 2, 3, which is most heroes. But unfortunately, she has a hand size of 4. But when the version 2, now she's a 2, 2, 3, so her stats are above normal. She's got a hand size 5, and she's got aerial. And then when you put her in version 3, she's a 3, 2, 3. So she's got her stats add up to 8. And there were a couple of leadership cards that came in her kit that you could add up your stats to like thwart or add up your stats to do damage. And yeah, those are great cards with her. Um, you also can spin after you've got her to version 3, you can spin the progress counters to do damage. And if you got enough progress counters built up, you can do a big swing against the villain. And so that's why Ironheart is an S tier. Next is Spider Ham. Now, Spider Ham is S tier as well because of the tune counters. That's just, you can get a lot of tune counters. You can spin a lot of tune counters to do things. Um, his cards are really powerful. Um, and the fact that every time he takes damage, he gets a tune counter. His perfect defense, quote unquote, actually is all but 1 point of damage. So then he could turn around and get a tune counter. And yeah, that's just amazing. So SBDR, oh, A or B. I'm going to put her in A. She's got a very unique play style. Now her hand size is really small. She's like a hand size of 3 when she's a hero and 4 when she's alter ego. But she's got these interfaces that are upgrades. They're permanent well, they're not permanent, but they're upgrades that you can exhaust to either get an ability or to pay for cards. Um, and she's another one that didn't come with the double resources. I tend to add the double resources to her deck, just because that way you could use the interfaces for their abilities instead of always having to do, um, maybe only be so you can get 2 cards out maybe instead of 1. The nice thing is if as long as you spend an interface, when you pick the cards, then you get like some kind of bonus. So, um, yeah, SBDR, I'm going to say it's going to A tier. Colossus, I think I'm going to put Colossus in the B tier. Um, Having 2 toughs is awesome. That is unique, and that probably is why he's not in the C tier because he's one of the 4 hand size people. Um, But the fact that he gets an extra tough and then he has ways to earn toughs, that's really good. Um, yeah, he's a lot of fun. And you put him in protection, and he, to try to avoid losing the toughs is even better. Shadowcat, Shadowcat, I'm putting her in the A tier. So Shadowcat is very similar to Vision when it comes to the multiforms because she's got the phased and solid. And I feel that it's a slightly cleaner design than Vision. I mean, Vision's not horrible by any means, but I think Shadowcat kind of took what Vision does and bumped it up a notch. Um, she also has when she's phased, when she gets the cards out, she can ignore the patrol and guard, which is very nice. She's got some nice little Shadowcat surprises. She's she's got some really good cards, and if you can time it to be in phase, that's actually half the fun is timing your turn because you're forced to go from phase to solid when you play an attack or you defend, but you're not forced to go from solid to phase. And solid will provide you with a resource. So you kind of want to time it so where you end your turn in phase, so then when the villain activates, you will take no damage, and then you can flip back to you flip back to solid form, and then you hope to um, get back to phase form the next turn. Okay. Cyclops, I'm putting him in the A tier um, for several reasons. So he would be one that would go in A plus if there was that category. I don't know if I put him in the S. I don't know if he's quite there. But he's got two really cool deck building. Well, he's got two cool things. One of them's deck building. So the deck building is you can include X-Men of any aspect, which is amazing. Um, he also has the field commander ability, so he can become the first player every turn. Um, and then he likes to have upgrades put on enemies so that he can use his visor. So he can use his eye beam, and there's more characters that have come out that put upgrades on there, and there's like aggression's got some upgrades. There's like more and more attached to the minion, attached to villain upgrades that just improve Cyclops, like Nightcrawler's Bamf. You put that on the villain. Now he can use his visor against it. Um, if Iceman's frostbite, uh, that helps Cyclops. So the Age of Apocalypse wave actually kind of came back and helped Cyclops. I feel a lot with the heroes that came in there, and then there's lots of there's more and more upgrades that are getting attached to minions and the villain, so that just improves him. Phoenix, I think I'm going to put her in A as well. She's almost S tier as well. I like her stat line at 312 because she's the first hero that had a base three um, thwart, which is awesome. Um, the power of the mind. She's like psionic cards, so she's got a lot of psionic. Um, the the Phoenix counters to help pay for a thing, and then when you're ready, you flip her to enraged, and she or unleashed, I guess, gets restrained and unleashed. Yeah, so she goes to unleashed. Then you swap the thwart and the attack, so she becomes a 1/3/2, and yeah, then you just kind of go damage to try to end the villain, at that point, and that's just awesome. And so yeah, that's why I like I like Phoenix. She's pretty close to S tier, and there's more psionic cards that came out in Cable and Psylocke, and yeah, that's just definitely improved Phoenix ability. Wolverine. Wolverine is very close to the bottom of the S tier, I would think. But like I said, if I decided to put an A plus, he might be in there. But Wolverine could take damage to play attack events for free. He comes with a lot of attack events. So even if you don't play him in aggression, you are still doing a lot of attack events. But of course, if you put him in aggression, then he's just going to go incredibly nuts with attacks. Um, and you can you take the damage to play the card for free, and then he's got a healing factor, so he, like I said, he you can get a lot of attack events going. Um, yeah, he's just amazing. Storm, uh, I think I'm gonna put Storm in A. She's pretty close to S. Um, Her weather deck is very nice, and it's different than Doctor Strange's invocation deck because you get to choose. I think she might be S. Let's put her in S. You get to choose which one that you play instead of drawing the top card. Um, in multiplayer, you do have to kind of play with timing a little bit, but it's an action to do it. So it's like, all right, we're gonna set it to where everyone gets +1 damage, but before we end the hero phase and go into the villain phase, I'm gonna switch it to everyone gets a -1. And that's kind of, I like it. It's pretty impressive. Gambit. Um, I think I'll leave him an S tier. He's another one that's kind of close between S and A. Um, Gambit is one of those characters that you could probably stay down the entire game if you wanted to. That new Justice card that came in his deck, Breaking and Entering, is nice because it's for spies or thieves. So that was a card that can help Black Widow as well, and Spider Woman. Um, I do like where you could charge the card, to do extra damage and throw the card. And depending on the number of charges you spend, a lot of his events do different things. So, like overkill and piercing and things like that. So yeah, Gambit is very, very flexible. Rogue, I'm putting her in S tier. She's There are so many fun combinations that you can pull off with Rogue, um, because she gains the traits of the target that we're doing. And actually, when we get to Domino, there is the posse card that only Domino can play because she was the only, you have to control three. So Rogue could touch a posse member and then she gets it. The only other way to pull that card off is if you're playing leadership and you have the Domino ally in your deck. Then you can anyone could play that card, but the card's kind of limited right now. But Rogue's got so many different things you can do. You could make her an android and then she can benefit from the reboot. You can make her a guardian and she gets benefit from the guardian cards. Um, X Force, X Factor. You can make her an Avenger so she can play the Quinjet. So the nice thing with the Quinjet is you have to be an Avenger when you play it. So she touches an Avenger, but then she doesn't have to be an Avenger when she uses it. Um, so there's you the card pool is like wide open for her, which is amazing. And like she could play espionage because she could touch a spy character and have that, so it's just amazing. Cable, I'm gonna put him at A. I haven't embraced the player side schemes as much as Dirk has. I mean, I do like them. Um, but Cable's big thing is he can have side schemes from any aspect, which, unique deck building again automatically puts him in the A tier minimum, and with the exception of Adam Warlock, I guess. Um, and yeah, he becomes psionic when he gets rid of his technovirus purge, and he becomes a 3/3/3, which is very, very, very good. And I think, well, actually, I think it will put him in the S tier, um, because he does become a 3/3/3 pretty quickly. The technovirus purge is like usually the first side scheme I'll play. When I play them, get it out on turn one. Hopefully, get a mind scan. You can remove it. The next evolution wave, the obligations were really harsh, and when his obligation comes out and he loses the technovirus purge and it gains one of the symbols, I think it's a hazard. I can't remember off the top of my head. That is amazing. Um, and I mean, it was amazingly horrible, I should say, because then you got to deal with it. And the strife nemesis minion is very powerful, and you can't, Cable kind of gets cut off from the rest of the group because he's sent back to the future, and it's kind of like, say, Kang stage two when everyone's all separated. Cable can experience that in pretty much against any villain because when his nemesis set comes out. Domino's definitely S tier. Building a deck with a bunch of wilds is amazing. She When you discard cards from the top of your deck, and if you count the resources, and if it's a wild, you double it. She Her kit came with pretty much every card was wild except for one, which was Jackpot, because that had the other three symbols on it. It had this the strength, energy, and mental. Um, but Jackpot is amazing because when you discard it, you get to shuffle it back into your deck. She introduced the Digging Deep um, resource. So when you discard it, you get to put in your hand. Bishop really loves that too because, oh no, Bishop doesn't need that. Sorry, because Bishop does that anyways. So Bishop kind of took that ability, but um, Magneto, that's the one. Yeah, Magneto really likes the digging deeps because you can, when he's doing his magnetic pull, they're not magnetic cards. Well, we'll talk about that when we get to Magneto. But she's got the posse, and she's got two signature allies that are both posse, plus the two basic posses. There's like five posse cards. So that posse card is very good with her. Psylocke, I think I might put her S tier as well. I was debating S or A. Um, I like her side knives and her katanas. That's two resources that are always out, minimum. And then she gets her events are powered based on what side they are, and you can flip them a lot. So that's really nice. Then of course she's psionic, so power of the mind resource cards are really good for her. And yeah, she's amazing. Um, oops. Oh, okay. Angel, I'm gonna put him in the S tier as well. He's a triple changer, kind of like Ant-Man and Wasp. Um, so he can go from Angel to Archangel. When he's Archangel, he does add an acceleration token. So you gotta kind of watch that. But I mean, when you play an event, an aerial event, which pretty much all his cards, he's aerial, all his cards are aerial. You throw in aerial aspect cards in with him. And then when you're angel, you get to draw a card. And if you're archangel, you get to do a point of damage based on the cost per the, the cost. Yeah. So if you play dive bomb, for example, then you're doing 4 points of damage to someone, in addition to what dive bomb does. So yeah, angel is, and then he also had the power of flight. So pretty much everybody's aerial. You throw aerial allies in with them, and yeah, you just have more resources than you know what to do with. X-23, I'm going to put her in the A tier. Um, she's fun. She's definitely fun. She's a little clunkier, I think, for healing than Wolverine, but her big thing is all about Honey Badger, which is her signature ally. And she's X-Force, Honey Badger's X-Men. So before Children of the Atom came out, it's kind of interesting, but now it's that distinction's kind of gone away a little bit. But Honey Badger, she can ready X-23. X-23 can heal herself and heal Honey Badger when you get the cards. Um, she's she's really fun. And the fact that you can do a puncture wound to the villain or to minions, so then they take extra damage at the beginning of the next player phase, that's just awesome. Deadpool is Deadpool. He's definitely an S. He's got 200 thwart, 200 attack, 100 defense. Oh wait, you ignore the zeros. Um, yeah, there's just a lot of um, fourth wall breaking comments in his deck. He introduced the fifth aspect, the pool aspect, which is amazing. And he's got he can dish out the damage like based on the amount of damage he's taken. He can, he's got cards of like, oh, do a point of damage for each point of damage you've taken, or uh, you know, or thwart, that kind of stuff. But when he would be defeated, instead you flip him to alter ego and you put an acceleration token on the main scheme. So yeah, he just can't be killed. Well, he can if you get one of those villains that attacks you even your alter ego. Okay, that's bad. But yeah, Deadpool is it with all between all the flavor text and editor note boxes and his comments and stuff. It's just yeah, Deadpool is just awesome. Bishop, I think I'm going to put Bishop in the S tier as well. He's I mean, he's amazing. You throw a bunch of resources in, you get his uniform out and he has to take the damage first, but as long as he doesn't exceed the amount of damage he currently has, then you get to heal once per enemy phase, um, based on the number of resources in your hand. He has a couple of resource sinks. You do have to be careful. Like if you go take too many resource cards in your deck, you might not have anything to do. Um, but I mean, you can still attack. His rifle will do a point of damage based on the number of resource cards you have. But if you got a hand up full of resources and nothing to spend them on, you that's not going to work so well. I mean, you're guaranteed to heal a lot, but so you can have some bum hands if you're not careful. But ways for him to get card draw definitely helps, like an Avenger Mansion, and he can afford expensive cards. Because you put in double resources, you put in like the power of all of us, the power of whatever aspect you're playing, you know, plus even the other aspect resources. And yeah, you can go you can go to town with whatever aspect you're playing. And like I said, you can have the spinnier cards in your deck. Magic, I love Magic. She's amazing. She gets the when she's in hero form, she gets to play with the top card face up. So that is really good for like Cosmo because you know what the card on top of your deck is, and if you don't need it, you could have Cosmo activate and then you discard it. So he wouldn't take consequential damage, which is amazing. Um, Magic's a, ability Limbo is great for swapping with the top card of your deck. Oh, you also get a discount of one for whatever card's on top of your deck, so that's really cool. And her events are just super powerful, and I like the knowing what the top card of your deck is. Iceman, I think I'm going to put him in A. Nope, yeah, A. The frostbites are amazing. It reduces the damage in that or thwart the next activation. Bishop and Iceman is not a good combo because uh Iceman is trying to reduce the damage and Bishop wants to take damage so that he can draw more cards. So that's kind of interesting that those two cards, those two were released side by side. Well, not in the same box, but one right after the other. Um, but yeah, I definitely like the things you can do with the frostbites, and it's a separate. It's a it came with like six frostbites as a separate deck, which was really nice. And there's upgrades that help Cyclops, so there's that. Jubilee. Uh, uh, I think I'll put Jubilee in B. I'm debating between B and A. Um, Her shopping spree is really nice in the beginning, but it has two on it, a through threshold. It's a player side scheme that does not have victory. So it's the only one we have that goes into the discard pile. But she has two items. So she's got her coat and her sunglasses, which are great after she plays a thwart or an attack event based on the number of resources, different resources that you spent. You can do extra thwart or extra damage when you exhaust them. The shopping spree allows you to grab them, but you can only remove threat as when you're an alter ego. So you can exhaust and remove one, but it has two. So she did it. If you play her justice, you throw a disguise, which came in her kit. When you can exhaust and do two. It's any item. Like I said, Jubilee came with two. She does have the cell phone card, which was more items, and as the card pool grows, there's more and more items, and it's just going to get better and better. Nightcrawler, I'm going to put him in the A tier. I really like the BAMPs because you can remove a BAMP, declare yourself the defender without exhausting. It's just amazing. Um, there's different things you can do when someone has a BAMP on them. You can remove a BAMP to do different things. Plus, the BAMP is an upgrade, so that helps Cyclops out. Um, and then Magneto. Now, the only reason Magneto is not an S tier is that I've had a couple. I did play a game once where all the minions were epic, um, and he's got four cards: his magnetic missile and wrap the metal and magnetic missile. So wrap the metal is you take a non-elite minion, you blank them, which is amazing. And then later on, you can, uh, when you get magnetic missile, you can throw it at another enemy. So he's got the same kind of cards as the Magneto villain, which is cool. And that's really fun when it works. But you can have some games where those end up being dead cards in your deck. Um, That's why he's not an S tier. But he is super. I mean, I really do like him a lot. Um, this last card here was an extra copy of Iceman. Anyways, yeah, so that's kind of off. That is my tier. Uh, let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What is that? 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, 11. Okay, so 11. So that's 16 S tiers, 22 A tiers, 12 Bs, 3 Cs, 1 D, 1 F. And so that is the 55 heroes that are that as of December 2024. And this is my ranking of them. So um, maybe we'll come back to this when we have more heroes in the card pool, if that's something people like. And I want to thank you for watching, everyone. Get to please like and subscribe.